Welcome and good morning to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of June 22nd. The time is flying fast, whether we like it or not. At least twice a year, I'll take 15 minutes with you, and I review with you what we call the Mike Ferry listing process. Sometimes I do it 3 times a year, and I do it based on the fact that we start getting a lot of questions, a lot of emails from individuals like yourself in relationship to how do you make the listing process work, what's involved in the listing process, what can I measure myself against with the listing process. Now, I want to share a thought with you guys and gals. If you're new with us watching Mike Ferry TV, we're going to give you a very specific, straightforward, no-nonsense system to follow to list and sell real estate. If you're a veteran with us, been with us some time, you know what you're going to get. A straightforward, simple, direct system for following to sell real estate. Now, of course, the problem we have, and it's a problem we deal with virtually every day with our clients like yourself, is that we're independent contractors. So therefore, we can decide to pick and choose something that I am sharing, teaching, explaining, or we can choose not to use anything that I say. But you always have to go back to the fact that is what you're doing getting you the maximum results that you want? And the answer is, and let's be honest, no. Most of you, 98%, are not getting the results, which is why you're involved in the training and in some cases the coaching, going to our seminars, retreats, and workshops that you attend all the time. Well, if you're not getting the results you want, why would you let your ego then keep you from learning, trying something outside of your comfort zone? Because it's outside of your comfort zone. I mean, let's be honest. If everything was inside your comfort zone, you'd be taking a nap all the time. Can't take a nap all the time and list property, so we have to stretch you, we have to sometimes push you, and in some of the cases with the great brokers we work with, demand of you that you learn the Mike Ferry sales system as a way of attaining better productivity, better listings, which will cause more sales to take place, and better income for yourself. So at some point, you've got to get over that constant fight that you have with yourself about doing what you're told. I mean, guys and gals, in real life, real business, if you don't do what you're told, you don't have a job. But for some reason in real estate, we can never do what we're told and we can maintain our job. I've talked about that time and time again in the past. So we recommend a very specific process, a system, a step-by-step approach. Now, I mean, don't get mad, but guess what? We have probably 150 competitors in this arena of coaching and training in real estate. And I can't find, because we scan them all, we look at them all the time, we research them all the time, we're always going online and seeing what they're doing. Nobody offers you a step-by-step system in any aspect of consequence in real estate. Oh yeah, somebody may say, here's a step-by-step system for working your database. Well, your database is one of about 60 methods of prospecting. Here's a step-by-step system for working your geographic farm. Well, that's one system or one method of 60 methods of prospecting. We offer you step-by-step time management, obviously prospecting, pre-qualifying, lead follow-up, the listing presentation, showing property, all the way through customer service, making this business profitable. But you have to accept the fact that you need to learn something. You have to accept the fact that you can change and grow. And in most cases, you just got to simply take your ego, set it aside, and do what we suggest. Hey, if thousands of the most successful agents in North America have been using what we teach for 20, 30, and 40 years, maybe you can too. So let's look at what we call the Mike Ferry listing process. It's 5 parts, and it's a system. It's A, B, C, D, E, with the result being a contract signed. I know you can do it, again, if you'll just take the time to learn it. This is one of those Mike Ferry TVs that you're probably going to watch 5, 10, 15 times this week and hopefully take copious notes. You'll want to go to my website and download all the scripts if you haven't done so already. You'll print all the scripts up. Certain ones will be for pre-qualifying, certain ones are the presentation, certain ones are handling the objections you're going to receive. It's a system designed to help you get from point A to point B fastest, most efficiently, and most profitably. So the Mike Ferry sales system, step 1, is, of course, pre-qualify. Now listen, why would you think that it makes any sense to go on a listing presentation without knowing as much as you can possibly know about that seller before you get there. And how do you find out? You ask pre-qualifying questions. You simply download the pre-qualifying questions. In fact, I've got coaching clients that I tell them the following. You take the pre-qualifying questions, you print up 10, 20, 30 copies. And you never go on a listing presentation until you read every question to the seller, get the answers written down, and then we actually ask our clients to email, scan, and send to the coach the answers to the pre-qualifying questions before the agent goes on the actual appointment to get you to make sure you're doing it. If you had to turn it in every time, you'd be more likely to do it. So why don't we pre-qualify? We don't pre-qualify because we're afraid that we don't really have a valid seller. Because if you ask all the pre-qualifying questions, you find out. Where are you moving to? How soon do you have to be there? How much do you want to list your home for? What do you own the property? Ever considered selling it yourself? You see, when you start asking these kinds of questions, would you describe the home in detail? Okay? When you start asking these kinds of questions, who else are you going to be talking to besides myself? Are you going to compare and interview other agents for the job of selling your home? We'd be ready to sign a contract when I get there and after I present to you. Will you take a few minutes and read the package I'm going to send to you and review the information before I come out? Are you prepared to do something in 5 to 10, 15 minutes when I see you to make a final decision? See, all these questions give me the answers I need to help them. Isn't it true that you want to help the seller make a good, valid decision? Isn't it true you want to make sure the seller understands the process you're going to be involved in? Isn't it true that you really are there to be of service to the seller? And how can you be of service if you don't find out everything you need to know to be of service to the seller? So get over yourself. Get over the ego. Get over the nonsense. I'm not a salesperson. Get over all that. Print the pre-qualifying questions. Ask them one at a time. Write down the answers. Review those answers, or even take that sheet with you to the listing in case there's some conflict on the listing between what they told you before and they're saying now. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you said when I talked to you a couple days ago that you were moving from Las Vegas to Reno, Nevada. But now as I'm talking to you, you're saying that you're not going to move to Reno. May I ask where you're moving to? Because I've written it down. Well, we've changed our mind about where we're going to go. Good, I need to know that so I can help you. So step one in the Mike Ferry listing process, the Mike Ferry sales system, pre-qualify 100%. Step two is mail or deliver a strong, non-ego pre-listing package. Pre-listing package. Now, watch this example. I can send out 35 pictures of myself, me carrying my puppy, me with my hat on, me passing out pumpkins in my farm, all the stupidity that realtors get involved in. Or I can send out pertinent information that allows them to see exactly what the circumstances are on their home, so together they and I can make a better decision on getting the home listed for sale and getting it sold. Do you think they have any questions for you before you arrive? Of course they do. And the pre-listing package is designed to give them the answers to most of the questions. So the more information I send them, better chance we have. So a non-ego pre-listing package. I had a friend of mine that was doing some work like I do, speaking to real estate audiences. And it was the craziest thing because he said to me, I'd like to send you my brochure of what I do. And I said, fine. And he had a big 8.5 by 11. It was probably 4-page, very, very expensive, fancy brochure about the service of speaking he did for real estate brokers and agents. There were 13 photos of himself. There were more photos than there was print about what he's going to do. So I wrote back a note and said, I think you're a handsome man. I like the way you look and you dress nice. But 13 photos of yourself, for goodness sakes? Do you think they're going to forget who you are by the time they turn from one page to the next? Well, don't do that on your pre-listing package. Watch. Obviously, a list of references. Who would recommend you to their friends and neighbors? Okay? How about a second thought? A completed CMA with an actual list price you want to list it for. Mike, they're not going to like my price. Of course. If they're going to be upset about the price, I want them to be upset in advance of me getting there instead of being upset when I get there. Think about that comment, okay? Obviously, I'm going to send out a net sheet based upon that particular CMA. Send out the disclosure statements with a little yellow stick 'em. Please review and sign before you get to the house. Because they have to review and sign each page in the disclosure. a copy of your sales plan, your marketing plan, your plan of action, whatever you call that, so they can see what you're going to do step by step. A copy of the contract, all completed on their house with a red checkum on the bottom, a little red check where they would sign it if they want to. Because see, if I get this in their hands and I follow the Mike Ferry sales process and the listing process, you'll see what's going to happen with step 3. Because step 3, of course, is call back and confirm that they've actually looked at the package, read the package, understand the contents of the package. Hi, Mrs. Smith, it's Mike. Did you receive the package that we sent out? Well, yes, we did, and we're very concerned about having you come out. Oh, you're kidding. What's the problem? Well, first of all, in your package, you wrote down a price of $495,000 for our house. Correct, I did. Well, we're thinking it's going to sell for $550 to $575. Oh, I see. So we probably have a little difference on price. Is that correct? Well, yes, we do. You know what, Mrs. Smith? To make sure we do something well together, why don't I discuss and help you finalize the price the moment I walk in the house? As soon as I walk in, let's discuss price, okay? Oh, yeah, that would be very important for us. Good. Any other questions before I come out? Well, yes, we noticed on that one form, you wrote down a 6% commission. Correct. We can go higher. Well, higher? No, we thought you might want to go lower. Oh, I see. So you're thinking about asking me to cut my commission. Is that correct? Well, yes, because the other agents we're talking to would do it for less. You know what, Mrs. Smith, thank you for that. Why don't you and I, once we get the price settled, you and I and your husband, let's discuss the commission, and let's get that settled the moment I get to the house. Okay, well, see you Saturday at 4 o'clock. Now look what's just happened. By pre-qualifying, I know what they're going to do. By sending out the package, pertinent information. By calling back and confirming, now I've drawn out their final objections. I know what the problem is going to be. I mean, how can you ask for a better deal than this? And then we go to step number 4, and this is a hard one. It sounds easy. Show up physically, mentally, and emotionally 15 minutes in advance. So I have a 7 o'clock listing appointment. I show up, obviously, at 6:45. Check my tie in the mirror, make sure my hair is combed. If I'm a lady, get my makeup adjusted and proper. I look at the copies of the material that I sent out. I read through the scripts just one more time to make sure I know what I'm going to say when I get there. And at 5 to 7, I walk up and I knock on the door and I start. I'm ready to go. I'm a professional real estate salesperson who's following a sales process because it's part of my sales system. Well, you know, I believe the following. I believe it's an NAR report a couple of years ago that said the average agent lists about 2.2 out of 10 listing presentations. They get a contract signed. A Mike Ferry trained agent that follows the process, 7 out of 10. No more time invested, no more energy invested, no more enthusiasm invested, and 5 more listings out of 10 than the other agent because they have a system to follow. And then, of course, step 5 is the critical one. Follow the scripts. I tell people all the time, I said, take the scripts in your hand, walk into the house. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as you can see, I've written down a lot of very important questions I need to ask. Would you mind if I ask them now? And then just read them to them. Because the truth is, they're happy if you read them to them because they know you're prepared. 2 things came up recently in the last couple of weeks. One is I got a great email from one of our clients. Mike, I walked in the house. I followed the process 100%. I got to step 5. I sat down and they said, we're going to sign the contract for you right now. Agent said, okay. He hadn't even started the presentation. And he said, great, I appreciate that. May I ask why? Your package, your presentation, everything was so professional. Nobody else did it. We're listing with you. He said, fine. They signed it. He left. Pretty good situation. Happens all the time. If you want to cut down the length of time that you spend with the seller, have a specific sales process to follow. Guys and gals, I've been doing this for 40 years. In fact, here we are in June, it's our 40th anniversary. One thing we know is hundreds of thousands of the best agents in North America and now in Europe. In fact, somebody said recently, Mike Ferry Organization, the worldwide leader in sales training and coaching. What a wonderful compliment to get. The worldwide leader. If that is the case, we just want to be the leader in your office, at your desk, in your mind, to help you become the best you can become. Follow the system, great results. Don't follow the system, you'll get results, but never as great as if you follow. Talk to you next week.